was that if Caleb Plant gets sick or injured, that Canelo still gets the guaranteed $40 million against any late replacement. But if Canelo gets sick, Caleb Plant would have to wait for him. That's a report. I don't know. Talk to me a little about if you read Caleb Plant's comments. What do you say to that?
Those are the words of AK and Barack. I believe that's Barack, and he was giving me what I wanted to hear about this negotiation, what was stopping Caleb Plant on their end from having this fight. Now we have it. That means Caleb Plant would have to wait for Canelo if he gets injured. And he couldn't fight anybody else, which someone from another network, I know that could be difficult because you got Al Heyman, and his job is to advise Caleb Plant or whatever to do the right deal. Having to wait on Canelo in a guaranteed fight for a career high payday, I think that would be a good fight. However, you don't really know what will happen in the future. You don't. You don't know if Canelo could test positive for COVID or he does get injured. How long does Caleb Plant have to wait? But I'll say this. If you guys can remember last year, Caleb Plant was, he turned down the fight with Canelo Alvarez before negotiating with Billy Joe, if you guys can remember. And he said, well, hey, that's not enough time to train, so I'm not falling for that Kovalev type, situation. And I think Caleb is being very cautious on what he does, but if it guarantees the fight, it just really shows who wants to be undisputed and who don't. Now, that's not the best deal because according to Canelo, he gets that same amount of money. Now, the thing is, with another opponent, well, granted, it had to be an opponent with the PBC, and that depends on who that opponent is, okay? So if it's somebody that people have been dying for, like Jamal Charlo or somebody like that, and if he moves up to 168, and then that's a unification automatically because Canelo has 3 of the belts, 3 out of 4. So I think that would be a bit brash. Understand that's a bit brash, but also it's not too far from the beaten path. Because again, I have to remind you guys of why Canelo left Golden Boy, because he wanted to fight fighters for the same amount of money, regardless of who those fighters were. And DAZN was like, no, you're not doing that. You know what I mean? Talk to Golden Boy. He talked to Golden Boy, and Golden Boy didn't tell him what they told DAZN, and then so it was some secondhand information and this, that, and the other. So, that's what happened with that, and that's why Canelo decided to leave Golden Boy, because he wanted a guarantee. So it still doesn't change Canelo's mindset when you're talking about DAZN. DAZN gives you a guarantee, okay? Not a possibility of getting an upside if there is an upside from the pay-per-view and stuff like that. He's getting his. So he still has that DAZN mindset. He just wanted to apply that to PBC Fox. And PBC ain't having it because they're not trying to fit the bill. And honestly, they actually don't pay their fighters a huge amount of money, okay, up front. They don't. That's why a lot of their events are on PBC, okay? But let's listen to what Eddie Hearn has to say.
No, I think, like you said, it's a report. People are entitled to their opinion. Obviously, from our side, I've been kept up to speed with the situation with Eddie Reynoso and kind of left the lawyers to deal with that fight. We know the undisputed fight is one that he wants to make. Obviously, it wasn't able to get over the line for September the 18th, but now we've got to look at either the alternatives or, to remain working on that fight. So I don't know whether the fight is dead, and perhaps there's some more work to do on that, but certainly now looks unlikely September the 18th.
So that's Eddie's words on that. It's not a necessary dead in the water like we was taught, but then again, it doesn't look very promising. Okay, and then it is really up to who is really willing to negotiate that fight any longer. Because to me, what Caleb Plant said about him having to wait if he gets injured and he has to wait for Canelo, or Canelo has to get the same amount of money for that, I think at the end of the day, that may be a bit forceful, But then again, that's Canelo Alvarez, and Canelo Alvarez, that's the reason why he's a free agent. He can call shots and make shots like that and make put himself in positions to get like a Mayweather slash opportunity for himself. But then again, on both sides, people, to counterpunch this whole thing, it depends on who wants the undisputed fight more. Is it Caleb Plant or is it Canelo Alvarez? That's all you really need to know about this particular situation. And Eddie's just in there, and he doesn't have a great relationship with PBC Fox, so he's just in there going along for the ride. He's just working for Canelo Alvarez, just like he works for Anthony Joshua and works for Dillian White. That's what he does. That's his role, and that's why he remains successful in whatever he does. Now, the Joshua Fury and the as of now, the Canelo Plant, I don't think that fight is those fights will happen right now. But then again, this is boxing. It's the sport that I love, that I hate so much, and I call that for a reason. But anyway, I'm just giving you guys an update on what Eddie had to say about Caleb Plant taking on Canelo Alvarez. Of course, please subscribe. I am under the weather. That's why I'm laying down lazy. So you guys tell me what you think. Please subscribe again. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.